Dear students, welcome you all to the industrial pharmacy class. And today class we will focus on the two topics, that is the continuation of the chapter compression and consolidation. And today lecture we will discuss granulation and fiability. Dear students, the main objectives of today's lecture is to learn about the process of granulation, the different steps, mechanisms involved in the granulation, and the process of fiability. That is one of the important topic regarding the tablets. Dear students, after the completion of this lecture you will be able to learn about the granulation and the different mechanism involved in the process of granulation and fiability. That's what is meant by fiability, and how the fiability test is performed, and what are the different factors which affect the process of tablets and involving the fiability. Dear students, first of all, we will discuss the granulation process. As you know, that granulation is any process whereby small particles are gathered or merged into larger permanent masses in which the original particles can still be identified. It means that wherever we are going to gather or merge or clump the small particles into the larger one, and permanent masses that is we come after the gathering of the small particles and becoming and resulting in the larger one, and these larger masses or permanent masses, the original particles can still be identified. It may be also defined as granulation as the process of collecting particles or merging or combining particles together by creating bonds between them. The particles are collected, the particles are gathered by creating or the generating the bonds between these particles, and by this process the particles are gathered. Bonds are formed by compression or by using a binding agent that is also termed as binder. By the process of compression, that involves the different processes, and by this way of the either by the compression process the bonds are formed, or by using a suitable and appropriate concentration of the binding agent or binder, and by this way the granulation, that is the collection of particles together by creating bonds, and the bonds are formed by the process of compression or by using a suitable binding agent or binder that is compatible with the formula of the granules that is to be formed for the compression process into the tableting, or the granules as such dosage form, or the granules may be encapsulated. Dear students, pharmaceutical granules typically have different size ranges between the pharmaceutical granules that is typically have size of range between the 0.2 and 4 millimeter depending on the subsequent use. That is the about the size of the granules, that what is the size of the granule, and this range that is 0.2 to 4 millimeter, that is the range of the pharmaceutical granule. Dear students, in majority of cases this will be in the production of tablets. These granules can be utilized or encapsulation and when granules will be made as an intermediate product and have a typical size range between zero point 0.2 to 0.5 millimeter. In this case, that is either in the production of tablets or encapsulation process, and granules are intermediate product for the further production of the final product as a tablet, that is a solid dosage form, as well as a capsule. In this case, the size range lies within this, that is 0.2 to 0.5 millimeter. That is the typical size range, which where we are whenever granules are intermediate product that is to be manufactured for the further processing into the formulation and to the tablet form or in the capsule solid dosage form as well. There are different reasons behind for the production of granules or granulation process. One of that is to prevent segregation of the constituents of the powder mix. As you know, that we have discussed in the definition that the particles are gathered by different bonds, and by this way the powder constituents are mixed and they are gathered, and this process of granulation is responsible for the prevention of the segregation process. The segregation means that is the separation of the constituents of the powder mix. Segregation is due to differences in the size, density of the components of the mix. The mixture containing the different densities and the sizes, and that this is responsible for the segregation process. The smaller and or denser particles concentrating at the base of a container where mix is there, uh, with the larger, less dense ones above them. An ideal granulation will contain all the constituents of the mix in the correct proportion, and each granule and segregation of the ingredients will not occur. And so we say that it is responsible for the prevention of segregation of the constituent of the powder mix. You can see in the figure that is the powder, and after degranulation you can see that the different constituents, and after sieving in order to monocyte granules achievement, and another one that is the powder but that is not granulated. This can be segregated powder, and different constituent may be separated in this case, but when it is not granulated. But when the powders or particles are granulated, then they are formed in this manner, and further sieving resulting in the monocyte granules formation. The second importance or advantage of the granulation is to improve the flow of the mix. Many powders, because of their small size, irregular shape, irregular sizes, and the different sizes and surface characteristics, are cohesive and don't flow well. And the flow is resisted because of the cohesive nature. Poor flow will often result in a wide weight variation within the final product. That is the product owing to variable fill of the dye. The third reason is to improve compaction characteristic of the mixture. And the previous that we have discussed, that is renews, results and the improvement of the flow property. And the poor flow is not only due to the particle segregation, surface characteristic or small size irregular shape of the powder, leading towards the poor flow and cohesive nature of the mix. And the granulation not only improve the flow properties, but also one of the drawbacks, that is due to the poor flow, that is often resulting in the wide weight variation within the final products because of the variable filling of the tablet die. And when the tablet dies are invariably filled due toward the wide variation because of the fuel flow, and this drawback is overcome by the process of granulation and the improvement in the flow of the mixture resulted after the processing of the granulation as compared to the powder. Another reason behind the granulation process is to improve compaction characteristic of the mixture. Some powders are difficult to compact even if a readily compactable adhesive is included in the mix, but granules of the same formulation are often more easily compacted and produce stronger tablets. On the one side, if we want to compress or compact and produce stronger tablets, and that is in the granules form, and on the other side that is in the powder form, the powder mass will be difficult to compact, even though if containing the compactable adhesive material that is included in the mixture. And on the other side, the granules are the same formulation can be easily compacted, and the production of the stronger tablets is possible by using the granulation compaction. This is associated with the distribution of the adhesive within the granule. Another advantage is to minimize the dust hazard produced by powders. The granulation of toxic materials will reduce the hazard, that is the dust hazard associated with the production of toxic drugs that may arise when handling the powders. When we are handling the powder, the toxic dust may be produced, and this toxic dust may be minimized by the process of granulation, which reduces the hazard, that is the toxic material hazard that is due to the production of the granulation. And the granulation minimize or reduce the dust hazard that is due to the granulation of the toxic material, as compared to when we are going to handle the powders, and the same problem of the toxic material dust production will be wise while we are handling the powder mass. For this purpose, produced granules should be non-friable and have an appropriate mechanical strength. Now, in this part of the lecture, we will discuss the mechanism of granulation. There are five primary bonding mechanisms between particles, which are: the first one is adhesion and cohesion forces, and the mobile liquid film between individual primary powder particles. The second one is artificial forces and mobile liquid film within the granules. And the third is that is the primary bonding mechanism is the formation of solid bridges after solvent evaporation. And the fourth one is attractive forces between solid particles, and the last one is mechanical interlocking. These are five primary bonding mechanisms between particles. Now we will discuss the first one, that is adhesion and cohesion forces in the mobile liquid film between individual primary powder particles. In this case, if sufficient liquid is present in a powder to form a very thin and a mobile layer, if the quantity of the liquid that is present in a powder to form a very thin and a mobile layer, there will be an effective decrease in interparticulate distance and an increase in contact area between the particles. The bond strength between the particles also increase as the van der Waals forces of attraction are proportional to particle diameter and inversely proportional to the square of the distance of separation. You can see in the figure that is chance of separation, fluctuating dipole, and that is the second molecule charge separation induced by the first molecule, that is the first one, and the positive and the negative charges, and the van der Waals interaction between these two particles. Partial positive and partial negative charges and van der Waals forces between the particles are shown in this figure. And dry granulation, the pressure used will increase the contact area between the absorption layers and decrease in the interparticulate distance, and this will contribute to the final granule strength. Then immobile layers may also be formed by highly viscous solution, half adhesive. In this case, it is immobile layer, and so the bond strength will be greater than the produced by the mobile film. In this slide, you can see that immobile layers and the mobile film, that layering will be strong. In case of the bond strength will be greater and the highly viscous solution of adhesive than that produced by the mobile film. This is a diagram where that is adhesion and cohesion. We have discussed in the previous lecture what is adhesion and what is cohesion. The second bonding mechanism, that is interfacial forces in mobile liquid films within the granules. During wet granulation, liquid is added to the powder mix of ammonium or formulation and will be distributed as films around and between the particles. Sufficient liquid is usually added to exceed that necessary for an immobile layer and to produce a mobile film. There are three states of the water distribution between particles as shown here. It is dry state prior to granulation, and liquid bridges, you can see, and the solid bridges. These are the solid bridges, and these are liquid bridges, and that is pendular, and this is funicular, and then capillary, and this is suspension, here in this that is the G representing adding granulating fluid. When we add the granulating fluid, this will be formed in this one, and when we dry, this will become this one. After the drying, these are interconvertible. What is pendular state? This state usually occurs at low moisture level. In this state, the particles are held together by lens-shaped wing of the liquid. You can see that is a pendular shape, pendular state, low moisture level in this case. And after drying, they can now be converted into the dry state prior to granulation, that is the original one, is the primary one. These cause adhesion because of the surface tension forces of the liquid air interface and the hydrostatic suction pressure in the liquid bridge. The second one is funicular state. You can see the second one, that is the funicular state. This state represents the intermediate stage between the pendular and capillary state. You can see that is the intermediate state between the pendular and capillary state. This one is intermediate between these two. When the air starts to displace from between the particles arrange in funicular state. You can see here and this figure that the air starts to displace from between the particle arrange in the funicular state. After the funicular state, the particles arrange themselves in capillary state as shown in the figure, and there is no air between them. There is no air in the capillary, but here is some air, and there is some air displaced in the pendular, and that is converted into funicular, and in capillary there is no air. Capillary state, when all air has been displaced from between the particles, the capillary state is reached and the particles are held by capillary suction at the liquid air interface, which is now only at the granule surface. That is the capillary one. And the last one, that is the droplet. You can see the droplet state that is also shown in some books. After the capillary, mass granule tensile strength increases about 3 times between the pendular and the capillary state. It may appear that the state of the powder bed is dependent upon the total moisture content of the wetted powder, but the capillary state may also be reached by decreasing the separation of particles. This state is the most desirable state in the process of granulation. It is the capillary state. Droplet state. This is another state in the process, but this step is undesirable. This will be important in the process of granulation by spray drying of a suspension. The third mechanism are the bonding, that is termed as the formation of solid bridges after solvent evaporation. Solid bridges formed by adhesive present in the liquid or by materials which dissolve in the granulating liquid. These solid bridges can be formed by partial melting, hardening binders, crystallization of dissolved substances. This is the figure, that is the spraying of the binders droplets for the powder mass, and the liquid bridges formation, and then the solid bridges, and the last one, that is the snowball structure formation, that is the finished agglomerates. And the spraying, that is the binder droplets are sprayed over the powder, and the masking, that is behind after the addition of the binder droplets, masking strip will be occurred, and then the solid bridge, that is after the solidification, and the finished agglomerate, that is the snowball structure will be the finished agglomerate form. Partial melting, that is the solid bridges that may be formed by either of these three, that is partial melting, hardening binders, and crystallization of dissolved substances. Partial melting, the pressures used in dry granulation methods may cause melting of low melting point materials where the particles touch and high pressures are developed. The particles will bind together and crystallization will take place when the pressure is relieved. The second one is the hardening binder. When an adhesive is included in the granulating solvent, the liquid will form liquid bridges and the adhesive will harden or crystallize on drying to form solid bridges to bind the particle. Binder like polyvinyl pyrrolidone, abbreviated as PVP, carboxymethyl cellulose CMC, starch are common adhesive used in this case. And the last one is crystallization of dissolved substances. The solvent used to mask the powder during wet granulation may partially dissolve one of the powder ingredients. When the granules are dried, crystallization of this material will take place. After the removing of the solvent from the granules, they become dried and crystallization of the material will take place, and the dissolved substances then act as a hardening binder. The rate of drying of the granules influences the size of the crystals produced in the braid. Larger particle size will occur if drying time longer or slower. It is therefore important that the drug does not dissolve in the granulating fluid or liquid and recrystallize, because of the it may adversely affect the dissolution rate of the formulation. And the fourth mechanism behind the bonding, that is attractive forces between solid particles. In the absence of liquid and solid bridges formed by binding agent, there are two types of attractive forces that can operate between particles in pharmaceutical systems. The first one type of attractive forces, that is electrostatic forces, and the second one is van der Waals forces. These forces significantly increase when grain size decreases. Now we will discuss the van der Waals forces. These are about four orders of magnitude greater than electrostatic and add to the strength of the news produced by dry granulation. The magnitude of these forces, that is are about 4 orders of magnitude, will increase as the distance between adjacent surfaces decreases, and at dry granulation this is achieved by using pressure to force the particles together. The second one is electrostatic forces that may be important in causing powder cohesion and the initial formation of agglomerates, the merging of the particles, for example during mixing. In general, they don't contribute significantly to the final strength of the granule. Another mechanism of bonding that is termed as mechanical interlocking. The mechanical interlocking theory of adhesion states that good adhesion occurs when an adhesive penetrates into the pores, holes, and crevices and other regularities of the adhesive surface of a substrate and locks mechanically to the substrate. The adhesive must not only wet the substrate but also have the right rheological property, that is the flow properties and deformation properties of the matter, to penetrate pores and openings in a reasonable time. You can see the adhesive and the substrate and the mechanical interlocking of the adhesive. Adhesion, in addition to adsorption, that is the physical attachment, 4 other mechanisms of adhesion have been proposed. That is, the first mechanism is mechanical interlocking occurs when adhesive flows into pores and the adhered surface are around projections on the surface. The second is interdiffusion, which results when liquid adhesive dissolves and diffuses into adherent material. And the third mechanism, adsorption and surface reaction and bonding occurs. In this second part of the lecture, we will discuss the friability. Have you heard about the friability? That is a physical parameter which indicates resistance of tablet against mechanical shock during packaging, transportation of trapping. The tablets are exposed to different mechanical shocks or pressure. This test is applicable for uncoated tablets. That is performed using the fibrillator termed as known as Roche fibrillator. The test is run once if obviously cracked or broken tablets are present in the tablet sample, which we are going to test for the friability. Then the tablet sample, after tumbling the sample, failed the test. Friability can be defined as the percentage of weight loss of powder from the surface of the tablet during the mechanical action, and the test is performed to measure the weight loss during transportation. There are different causes of friability, including the insufficient or ineffective binder, low moisture contents, and sharp edges of the tablets lead to causing the friability of the tablets. Requirements: 20 tablets are taken. Weighing balance is necessary for the weighing. Fibrillator, soft brush, and calculator for calculation. In this case, 20 tablets are randomly selected, and these are dedusted with the addition of air pressure of soft brush. Then accurately weigh the total 20 tablets after the dusting, and this weight is not and designated as W1. It is the initial weight and placed in the drum of the fibrillator, and we have to operate the fibrillator for 4 minutes in order to get completion of the 100 revolution. As you know that 25 rpm is the speed of the vibrator, and 4 minutes are required to complete the 100 revolution. After the completion of the 100 revolution, the tablets are recollected and dedusted and weighed the tablets again, and if any tablet cracked, eliminated or kept, then there is no need of the reweighing, and in this case the test is failed for fiability. If it is not happened after the quaking, elimination of cracking, then we have to take the tablet and reweigh the tablet, and by using this formula, that is percent probability is equal to W1 minus W2 divided by W1, and we have to multiply it by 100 in order to get the percentage of probability, where W1 is the initial weight of the tablets and W2 is the final weight of the tablets. And then we have to check with the limits, official limits. This is U according to ESP. The result should not exceed 1%. According to BP, it should not be more than 0.8% in order to pass the test. The references, that is the Lachman, and the Autumn Pharmaceutics. Apart from some of the topics that we have discussed in this lecture, the mechanism of granulation, remember that these are the mechanism, these are four primary bonding mechanism between particles. Apart from that, there are a mechanism of the granule formation, including nucleation, transition, bar growth, these are the different mechanism of the granule formation. The first one is that is the granule formation mechanism or granulation, that is nucleation. Granulation starts with particle-particle contact and adhesion due to liquid bases that we have discussed in the bonding mechanism. A number of particles will join to form the pendular state. Further agitation densifies the pendular body to form the capillary state, and these bodies act as nuclei for further granule growth. This mechanism is termed as nucleation. The second one is transition. Nuclei can go in two possible ways. Either single particles can be added to the nuclei by pendular bridges, or two or more nuclei may be combined. The combined nuclei will be reshaped by the agitation of the bed. This stage is characterized by the presence of large number of small granules with a fairly wide size distribution. That is termed as transition. Ball growth, that is if vegetation is continued, granule coalescence will continue and produce an unusable overmass system, although this is dependent upon the amount of liquid added and the properties of the material being granulated. Coalescence, here that is two or more granules join to form a larger granule. Breakage, granules break into fragments which adhere to other granules, forming a layer of material over the surviving granule. Layering, when a second batch of powder mix is added to a bed of granules, the powder will adhere to the granule, forming a layer over the surface and increasing the granule size. Similarly, abrasion transfer, that is agitation of granule bed, leads to the attrition of material from granules. This abraded material adheres to other granules. And four possible mechanisms of ball growth, that is crushing and layering, coalescence, abrasion and layering. And the different factors affecting the granulation method, that is the liquid requirement, so this is all about the granulation. Thank you all for your attention.